Assalamu alaikum dear students. Today we will come to know about what are scalars and vectors. Dear students, as you know, in this universe there are a number of physical quantities, huge number of physical quantities, and these physical quantities have been categorized into two types. Some are known as scalar quantities and some are known as vector quantities. That means the physical quantities have been physical quantities have been divided into two categories. Number one, scalar quantities. Second, vector quantities. That means some of physical quantities are known as scalar and some are known as vector. Now we will know which are known as scalar quantities and which one are known as vector quantities. Dear students, the physical quantities which are completely specified by their magnitude or size alone are called scalar quantities. For example, length, volume, mass, density, power, energy, electric current, etc. They are known as scalar quantities. Why? Because they have only their magnitude or size and can be specified completely. I will write it here. Physical quantities which are completely specified by their magnitude, or we can write size alone. That means only magnitude are called scalar quantities. Example, length, mass, volume, density, power, energy, work, temperature, pressure, etc. That means these physical quantities, length, mass, volume, density, power, energy, work, temperature, pressure, etc. They are known as scalar quantities. Why? Because they can be specified completely by their magnitude or by their size. So they are known as scalar quantities. Now the second one, vector quantities. Vector quantities we will define as the physical quantities which have both magnitude as well as direction. That means these physical quantities are represented by their magnitude as well as direction, so they are known as vector quantities. The quantities which have both magnitude and direction are called vector quantities. Example, velocity, acceleration, force, torque, impulse, linear momentum, angular momentum, electric field, magnetic field, etc. These are the quantities which are known as vector quantities. That means they are having both magnitude or size and direction. For example, velocity, acceleration, force, torque, impulse, linear momentum, angular momentum, etc. They are known as vector quantities. Now, dear students, now you come to know about which one are known as scalars and which are known as vectors. Now, after that, how we represent a vector. Representation of vector. How a vector is represented. Representation of vector. Dear students, as we know, a vector quantity has two things. Number one, magnitude, and second, direction. That means if a quantity is a vector or a vector, it will have two things, magnitude and direction. How the magnitude of a vector is and how the direction is represented. Now, the magnitude of a vector is represented by the length of the straight line. The length of the straight line represents its magnitude, and an arrowhead at the end of the line represents its direction. The magnitude of a vector is represented by the length of a straight line, and the direction is represented, and the direction is represented by an arrow head at the end of the line. At the end of the line. Look here, for example, dear students, here we represent a vector P at point A and B. Look here, there the magnitude AB is what? AB is the magnitude of the vector and arrow on P1 AB represents the shows the direction. Shows the direction of vector P. Look at dear students, this magnitude of the line, this magnitude of the vector, it is the length of the straight line, but not on the scale. So, an arrowhead on P, AB represents the length, represents the magnitude, and the arrow on vector P on P or AB shows the direction of the vector. Now, there are 2 points, first point and second point. The point A of the vector is known as tail, and B is known as head. Point A is known as tail and point B is known as head of vector P. That means a vector is having 2 points, tail and a head. Tail, where from it starts and where it ends, is the head. So here the vector shown in the figure, A represents the tail and B represents the head. Dear students, as you know, this magnitude of P, it is also represented, vector P, it is also represented, we can represent it as modulus of P. Modulus of P, or simply P. So magnitude, that means magnitude of vector, we can represent it by modulus of P or simply P. This is how we represent a vector. After that, there is a position vector and displacement vector that we will discuss inshallah next class. Till then, Khuda Hafiz.